It was a bright Sunday afternoon when Margaret Hayes sat down for lunch with her daughter and two grandsons. At 61, she was full of life, quick to laugh, quick to tease, the kind of grandmother who still climbed playground ladders and baked pies from scratch. That day, she'd made roast chicken with potatoes and a crisp green salad. Nothing fancy, just the kind of comforting meal she loved to share. After lunch, they lingered at the table, chatting about school projects and summer plans. Margaret poured herself a second glass of iced tea, pushed back her chair, and stood to clear the plates. She took 3 steps toward the sink and collapsed. Her daughter, Anna, thought at first that Margaret had tripped. But when she knelt down, she saw her mother's eyes unfocused, her breathing shallow. Panic rose in the room. The boys called 911 while Anna tried to remember CPR from a long ago first aid class. By the time the paramedics arrived, Margaret had no pulse. They worked on her in the kitchen, their voices urgent but controlled. She was rushed to the hospital, but an hour later, the doctor emerged with the news Anna could barely absorb. Her mother was gone. The cause, they explained, was sudden cardiac arrest. Not a slow decline, not a long illness. Her heart had simply stopped. The doctor said that while some events like this come without warning, there were lifestyle habits that raised the risk significantly, even in otherwise healthy people. Margaret, it turned out, had been unknowingly making several of those mistakes for years. 1. Ignoring subtle warning signs. Anna thought back to the past few months. There had been small changes, her mother getting winded on stairs, brushing it off as just getting older. She'd complained about occasional chest tightness, but never enough to see a doctor. The emergency physician explained that heart disease often whispers before it shouts, especially in women over 60. Fatigue, shortness of breath, or indigestion-like discomfort can be early red flags. Ignoring them, even when they seem minor, can allow an underlying problem to grow until it triggers a crisis. Number 2, sitting too long after meals. Margaret had a habit, especially on weekends, of sitting at the table for an hour or more after eating. The cardiologist later told Anna that prolonged sitting, particularly after a large meal, can contribute to spikes in blood pressure and blood sugar, which stress the cardiovascular system. For someone already at risk, that stress can tip the balance. A gentle walk after eating helps blood flow and digestion, reducing strain on the heart. 3. Underestimating the role of hydration. Margaret drank tea and coffee throughout the day, but rarely plain water. Dehydration thickens the blood, making it harder for the heart to pump, and can disrupt the body's electrolyte balance, both factors that can lead to arrhythmias. On the day she died, she'd had little to drink besides 2 cups of coffee at breakfast and the sweet tea at lunch. The doctor said that for older adults, maintaining hydration is one of the simplest but most overlooked ways to protect heart health. 4. Skipping regular checkups. It had been nearly 4 years since Margaret's last full physical. She'd told Anna she felt fine and hated the hassle of doctor visits. But routine checkups can catch silent issues like high blood pressure, irregular heart rhythms, or early signs of arterial blockage. The emergency team suspected she'd been living with untreated hypertension for years, a condition that damages blood vessels over time and increases the risk of sudden cardiac events. Number 5. Believing healthy weight equals healthy heart. Margaret had always been slim and active, and she took pride in still fitting into the clothes she'd worn in her 40s. But heart health isn't only about weight. Genetics, diet, stress, and unmeasured internal factors all play a role. The doctor explained that many people assume they're safe because they aren't overweight, but lean individuals can still develop dangerous plaque buildup or electrical instability in the heart. The days after Margaret's death blurred for Anna. She replayed that lunch over and over. The sound of her mother's laugh, the scrape of forks on plates, the moment she fell. Grief made the air feel heavy, but so did the knowledge that some of what happened might have been preventable. A week later, Anna sat in her kitchen with a notepad, determined to write down what she'd learned, not as a way to punish herself with what-ifs, but to make sure her mother's story could help someone else. She listed the 5 mistakes and, next to each, wrote down what could have been done differently. Noticing the small symptoms, moving after meals, drinking more water, keeping up with checkups, and understanding that heart health wasn't just about the scale. She started making changes herself. She scheduled a physical, began taking short walks after lunch, carried a water bottle everywhere. She talked with her sons about recognizing the signs of heart trouble, even in people who didn't look sick. Months later, when the sting of loss had dulled enough to talk about, Anna told her mother's story at a local community center during a health awareness seminar. She described the lunch, the collapse, the long wait for the ambulance. She shared the doctor's warnings and her own list of lessons learned. A man in the back raised his hand. "I've been skipping my checkups for years," he admitted. "Figured if I felt fine, I was fine. I guess I should rethink that." Anna nodded. "So should I have. My mom was full of energy right up until the moment she wasn't." Heart problems don't always give you the chance to prepare. Afterward, several people came up to thank her. One woman said she was going to start walking after dinner with her husband. Another promised to book a doctor's appointment that week. It didn't bring Margaret back. Nothing could. But it felt like a way to carry her forward, turning the sudden, brutal ending of her life into a warning that might save someone else's. On the anniversary of her death, Anna cooked roast chicken with potatoes and salad, just like that last lunch. She set a glass of iced tea at her mother's old seat, not as a shrine, but as a reminder. She and the boys ate slowly, talked, and then got up together for a walk around the block, the cool air settling over them. The silence between their words wasn't the heavy, aching kind anymore. It was lighter, filled with the steady rhythm of their footsteps and the quiet vow they all carried: to notice, to act, and to never take another heartbeat for granted.